Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to EBCW Velocity. My name is Ed0626, and to start this episode off, I'm going to do something I usually don't do. I'm going to go from commentary to live commentary in this episode, because this will be a special two-parter with Velocity. And Grand Rapids, Michigan, better get ready, because we got a lot of shit to talk about. And as you can see, I'm doing a commentary style. I got Gallows and Anderson, the Good Brothers, facing Heavy Machinery in what was a very entertaining match. And I hope you guys enjoy that. But the real reason I'm talking to you guys the way I'm talking to you right now is for something very specific. As you can see from the title, we're talking about my personal 2K20 wish list. This week, 2K20 was officially revealed to the world with Becky Lynch and Roman Reigns on the cover. My personal opinion in terms of the cover, poses look like shit, the background looks like shit, but I'm happy for both of them being on the cover, but I personally think the cover looks like trash. That's just my personal opinion in terms of artistic style. But besides the point, I could go on and on about that, and that's not what the point of the video was about. Here's my wish list for WWE 2K20. Now, as we all know, EBCW is a universe mode series. So my personal opinion is I would like new features to universe mode, where just to spice it up. I don't know what they have planned for it. There wasn't much released on it when the whole press release came out, but maybe like some story options or something. See, I hate the fact that all the storyline shit has to come through rivalries. I personally think that's boring as fuck, because I think rivalries don't offer anything to the game whatsoever. I think it's just you playing the same match over and over again for X amount of time ad nauseum. I think that's boring as fuck, personally. So I usually don't do them. I usually create my own rivalries through storytelling, and that's why I think I do a better job than 2K does when it comes to like storytelling and creating hype for matches and shit, because there's no story options in the game. Next up, and I'm not sure if this has been confirmed yet, but and a couple of these have been taken through some research, looking through Reddit, other wish lists and whatnot. So this is like stuff I really think should be in the game that I want to see, just to preface as well before I continue. Match types, I would love to see, I'm not sure if they have it in the game anymore, I haven't really checked, but I would love to see some Inferno or First Blood matches. That would be great. They have a lot of multi-man matches. I can see they stepped up their game from the multi-man aspect, especially since the Money in the Bank ladder match that we recently saw on the channel is probably the biggest ladder match I've ever had, because there's never been 8-man ladder matches in 2K games as far as I can remember. It's usually always been 6 men, and I like that. However, I would also like to see like a 5v5 Survivor Series matchup. Me, personally. I think that would be really cool, because usually Survivor Series quote-unquote matches are like 3v3. I think they're like 3v3. And you can make them like, I don't know, fucking elimination tags or whatever. I think they can spice it up a little bit by adding it to 5v5, especially since they've already done 8-man ladder matches. I don't see why the engine couldn't handle that. In addition, I'd also like to see a War Games style matchup. I think that would be fucking insane, because War Games has been a staple in NXT for the last 2 years, and arguably some of the best matches WWE has put on in the last 2 years have been the 2 War Games matches, which, again, I think as a fan I fucking enjoyed, and I actually enjoy them more than any of the older War Games matches. I think the older War Games matches don't even compare to the ones that we're seeing nowadays. So what's already been confirmed that's on my list is a showcase mode, and that's cool and all. I like the fact that they're sticking with a storyline based mode, and from what I understand, it's going to be focused on the women's 4 horsewomen, which, for those of you who don't know, is Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, and Sasha, which is kind of a shock that Sasha's even in the game, considering the fact that she hasn't wrestled a single match since WrestleMania. So I actually thought they were going to remove her from the game, but I guess her standing with the company is still intact. Of course, there's a lot of rumors flying around about that, and no one really knows what the fuck is going on besides Sasha. But anyway, it should be a decent mode. I hope they focus a lot on the good matches and not so much of the shitty ones, because there's probably been a lot of shitty matches focused around these women as well. So, and I can go on and on about that. Next thing I want to talk about is the NXT UK roster. In 2K19, NXT UK was represented, or the UK division was represented by both Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. I don't believe any other ones were in the game, but those are the two that are most noticeable, or most notable, I should say. So the NXT UK roster, there should be at least 10 people, and just to name a couple on the top of my head: British Strong Style for one, Walter, since he's the current champion, possibly a tag team or two, Travis Banks, Jordan Devlin. Those are the ones that really come to mind. Definitely would include Zach, what's his fucking name? Zach Gibson and James Drake. I think they're a fantastic tag team, and to put them in the game would be a disservice considering they're the first ever tag team champions. The women's division as well would also be good. Toni Storm, Rhea Ripley, who else, to name a few? Probably Piper Niven. So that's just how I feel about that. Maybe include Ginny in there as well. She's been a staple since the beginning, more or less. So that's what I got for that, for NXT UK. I honestly think if they don't have at least 10 representatives of that division in the game, I think it's a disservice to the entire roster, because there's so much good talent there, and to not at least have, again, 10 would be awful. And I know that it's like asking for goddamn 200 superstars, but when you have that many superstars contracted, it's kind of hard to not have these guys in the game, or at least a good portion of them, to have like some sort of representation. Because like I said, Bate and Dunne are the only people that I can think of in this game that represent the UK division. So also, I would also like to see some superstars that weren't in the game this year. Most notably, that I remember, or that I recall, Nikki Cross and Tommaso Ciampa. I believe the reason they weren't in the game was because of some royalty issue. That's what I read somewhere. I don't know how truthful it is, but I personally think not having them in the game sucks for this year, especially since they were both in it last year. I can only imagine what playing as Tommaso Ciampa would be this year, because the guy's a fucking animal, and despite injury, he's probably been one of the most entertaining things WWE has on television, whether it's NXT, Raw, SmackDown, anything. He was definitely one of the best champions they had. And I sound like a fanboy because I used to hate Ciampa, and now I actually respect the fuck out of his work ethic. The guy's an absolute animal. But and he's had fantastic matches, so I don't see why this year they can't come to an agreement with him and Nikki Cross and maybe a couple other ones. Maybe some legends that may or may not have been in the games, or at least not for a while. I don't know. Something to spice it up a little bit, something different. Maybe replace some of the other legends with some newer ones. That's just my opinion. Create a finisher, another thing. That should be in the game but isn't, and I don't know why, because it's in all of the THQ games, or most of them, and the fact that I can't create my own finisher really bums me the fuck out. Even though I love the GTFO DDT Impaler from Edge that I pretty much inherited, not being able to create my own really sucks. So that's just my opinion, and even some more options to create an entrance would be good too. Because faction entrances should be a little bit better, considering most factions now are 4 people, so they can probably do a little bit better on that end as well. That's not something I have on my list, that's just something that popped up on top of my head. Anyway, my final thing I want to talk about is something that regards Universe Mode again. I should have mentioned this earlier in the video, but I didn't. More diversity in matchups. And I notice this a lot when I play 2K19, is I feel like I'm playing the same superstars over and over and over again, and I really, really, really want to give you guys some diverse matchups. I think I have done that to an extent, but at the same time, I feel like it could be just a wee bit better, because I feel like I play the same. I feel like when I play SmackDown, for instance, I play fucking Kalisto every other show. It's really annoying in my opinion. So, or I feel like I see Kalisto every other show, and I could change it, but at the same time, I don't want to have to go through the effort, because usually I don't have a lot of time to record EBCW. So I'm trying to like do the best I can with that. So maybe some diverse matchups, because I feel like even the legends, they are in the game, but in universe mode, I feel like you play them like once or twice if you're lucky, as a whole throughout the game's lifespan. So I really wish there was a system in place that they could do that and fix it up a little bit, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, guys, that concludes the first episode of Velocity, or the first match of Velocity. As you can see, Heavy Machinery got the win over Gallows and Anderson, the Good Brothers. Let me know what you guys think, what your 2K20, excuse me, wish list is down in the comments section below, and in the description you can follow all my shit. And I will see you guys on the live commentary edition of Velocity. And I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys soon.